Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to our channel. This is going to be our very first time to record a podcast of sorts to talk about our experiences and what led us to enjoying what we do while traveling. So, currently, we are aboard the Royal Caribbean's Navigator of the Seas. It's the last night of a 7-day cruise. So, we are about ready to disembark in Los Angeles tomorrow. And this has been one of the better cruises for us travel-wise because we really didn't have to fly into a port in order to join a cruise. One of the things that I appreciate about this is it's only about 35 miles from where we live. So we embarked from the port of Los Angeles a week ago, and tomorrow we will be arriving back in LA. So in this little podcast, I'm inviting my husband, Matthias, who's been my partner in life and in travels and in all the adventures that we've been doing for the past decade or so. And we'll talk about a few things that have meaning to us when we go travel. So I hope you listen in, and I hope you enjoy the questions and answers that we'll be talking about. So here we are together, as I mentioned, for the first time, doing a little podcast, and we'll talk a lot about predominantly our travels, what led us to loving what we do. And so this is Matthias,
What's up, guys? How are you?
the other half of Carlventures, and we've been married for 11 and a half years now. Can you believe that?
No, I can't. Time
And-
flies when you're having fun.
Absolutely. And we've been together for, this year will be our 15th
15th?
year.
Yeah.
Wow. All I can say is time flies, guys.
Yes.
And amidst the challenges and obstacles, at the end of the day, we understand our why, and we continue to really enjoy every moment of spending our time together, understanding that love will conquer everything.
Yes.
And it's true for us. So, anyway, so my first question to you is this.
What is it, Carl?
Growing up, have you always been interested in exploring the world or traveling and doing a lot of adventures?
Yes. But growing up, I grew up in the Imperial Valley, which is a very small town. And traveling for me meant going to Disneyland. It meant going to Los Angeles, meant going to San Diego. As I became older and a little bit more experienced, the East Coast came along, New York. However, traveling to me now means, culture. You get to see other people's way of living, their day to day, how they get along, how everybody gets along, how connected we all are.
And earlier we were talking about, I think I made mention to you that, I'm a firm believer that travel is the best educator.
Yes.
Would you agree, and why?
Yes, I would, because again, you get to see the different cultures. You get to really experience language,
Yeah.
food,
Mhm.
art, dance, everything that really makes life fun,
Yeah.
right?
And-
And who you are
Yeah.
really as a person.
And I think the dynamic of human interactions, because to your point about language, even if for example, we've been to Japan, even if we did not speak, the Japanese language, for some reason, there's a way for us to communicate, either non-verbally or some common, actions that have universal meanings.
Right.
So I think that to me is the most fascinating thing, because our language equalizer is that we're foreigners, they're locals, and we're just trying to understand their culture. So I think to me that's really fascinating. For me, growing up, I think I can relate to your Disneyland theme, because for me too, growing up in the Philippines, I always believed that Disneyland is like the final destination for a Filipino child. You know what I mean? Like, once you've been to Disneyland, it's like, wow, you've reached your goal.
It's a small world.
Yeah, exactly. But it's symbolic meaning though of being like the opening to so many different possibilities for whatever it means, right? To a child. It also is the same for an adult, because when I first visited Disneyland in 1992, I will never ever forget. I said, wow, this is more than what I ever imagined. And 30 plus years later, I'm still fascinated by how far I've come, you know? And Disneyland to me symbolically really opened that world of wonder to see what's out there,
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
So that's sort of our, the origins of our wanderlust or our interest in exploring the world. But have you ever actually just wanted to go abroad, or did you also want to experience the United States? Or I know that you have Mexican heritage, so what was that about in terms of, I guess, priorities? Did you want to go outside the US first, or?
I don't think I really had the knowledge or the
Mm-hmm.
that I was even leaving the country, because from a very young age, we visited my family in Mexico. My grandma's family, we would take them food
Mm-hmm.
every week. So every week we would go and spend the day, take them food. No concept of oh, we're leaving the country.
It's an
or
international
anything
travel,
like
although it's
that.
just across the border. Yeah.
However, it was so hot.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah.
would always dread that. To me, that was something I would always dread. It meant leaving the comfort of like an air conditioned house
Yeah.
to get in a car, travel without air conditioning to another, country. And not only that, but like whenever you go to Mexico, you have to get in a line to
Mhm.
go over there and come
Mhm.
back. So whenever, you enter the States, you end up catching speed. So for me, that was always like the coolness,
Yeah.
because it was always cool in the
It's
US.
freer, like
It was
physically, it's
always-
freer.
Yes, I would
Yeah,
always
yeah.
say like, oh my God, we're almost to the a lo fresco, like
Yeah, yeah.
al aire fresco, like,
Yeah.
which means that we're almost to the cool side. So every time we would go, my grandparents would laugh because I was just so hot and sweaty, and your cheeks turn red, and it's just an uncomfortable feeling, especially as a young kid. And then you really have no concept of leaving the country other than just what you experience, and that was heat.
Yeah.
That was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And again, like even going to the restroom was a
Yeah.
challenge back
Yeah.
then, because some of my cousins and aunts, they still had outhouses that they would have to use the restroom for, and I just rather not to hold it
To avoid
to
using it.
avoid, yeah.
But you know what though? I agree with you in terms of what your body remembers in terms of feelings and emotions are the ones that you associated with a certain place or experience,
Right.
And as a child, really, to your point, you have no concept of crossing the border means leaving the US to Mexico and vice versa. For me, though, when I was growing up, I remember packing a bag when I was maybe 9 or 10 years old and putting whatever clothes I had in that bag, saying that this is going to be my bag to the United States.
Hmm.
So
Wow.
I came here when I was around 19. So less than a decade later, that dream really came
Yeah.
true.
Wow,
And that
talk
was-
about manifestation.
And without me realizing that that's going to be sort of the manifestation, right?
Yeah.
I really didn't have any clue how I was going to get to the US, but I just had a vision that one day I will go to the US and I will go to Disneyland. And this is around 8 or 9 years old. I had a packed bag with fake tickets, airline tickets or whatever. And this is it. I did not open it. I mean, I kind of checked the bag from time to time. I really didn't know. I can't remember, what I did with it after, but that was sort of my first venture into thinking about leaving the Philippines
Wow.
to go to the US. And it's just the US, no other country, just the US.
Wow.
That's always
Yeah.
been my dream. But
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more.